So, hey guys, have you ever thought to yourself, damn, I hate Mitsurugi? Like, there could be no worse thing that could happen to me than my opponent playing Mitsurugi. Like, I could care less about what they're playing, unless it has Mitsurugi. Like, normal summon Inspector border? Sure. Activate Runic Fountain? Why not? But Habakiri effect? That's where we draw the line here. So if you've been feeling that way recently, I got you covered. So today we're going over how to counter Mitsurugi specifically, and only Mitsurugi. If you were thinking about maybe like Orcus Mitsurugi or like Raizel Mitsurugi, I can't do anything about that, like realistically, like come on. But all right, if we look at Mitsurugi, there are few things that are worth noting. So first off, if you have Habakiri in hand, there's not that much you can do. Like even if you were to draw the Habakiri, then you can still get access to Murakumo. You just can't, at the very least, right? But even if you don't get to Murakumo, but like, I guess if you're playing like specifically Orcus Mitsu, then you can do like normal summon Orcus starter after all this shenanigans, and Orcus does not need a search at all. So it's just combo, basically. And then if you have another interaction, you have to discard one for it. So like, let's say you have Infirm plus, I don't know, could be anything, Ash Blossom, Pistol, whatever. You gotta discard for this, and then you'll have to discard next turn against this. That word just becomes like a straight up Omni negate, I guess. But yeah, focusing back up. Well, if we want to imperm, they full combo before you ever get an opportunity to imperm. So in terms of hand traps, there's no like super solid singular hand trap answer that just really clears Mitsurugi if they open Habakiri. If they need to search Habakiri, then you can prevent Habakiri from performing a search and accessing the Murakamo here. And the Mitsu cards become kind of obsolete in this case. So that's basically what you're hoping for with Droll. But yeah, that means going second, you would need to play something extremely targeted. And it would need to clear all of this nonsense somehow. So I think your best bet for this is probably like some kind of super poly based play for going second. So going second, like it's just doom. So simply win the coin flip, part one, I guess. So yeah, if you do win the coin flip though, then let's go over what we can do. So one of the things that is really notable about Mitsurugi is it's a ritual deck. And even though you can ritual summon by tributing cards from your main deck, you're still tributing. So just remove your opponent's option to tribute. And then what? Nothing, right? I guess there's also this idea where you just slap Protoss, call Dark, call it a day. You can't special summon any of their Dark ritual monsters or their Dark monsters, so that whole Mitsurugi section of their deck, useless. So let's say we have Protoss option 1. Next, we have Mask of Restrict, which you could just main deck for fun, I guess. This is not the best option we'll be going over, but technically, aside from just this, there is another monster that works like Mask of Restrict, and this is useful for specifically, I guess, like Kashtira deck. So this should be I believe, Dark level 7, I think. Or it's a light. Not 100% sure. Let's see if I can find it. It's also a rare card, I believe, right? Yeah. Brain's working. Figured out the name of the card. Fog King. If you have Fog King... Wait, this is a water. Well, okay. You can tribute one monster or no monsters to normal summon, but not set this card. The attack of this card becomes the combined original attack of the tributed monsters. Neither player can tribute cards. So that this just plays around Nibiru as well. So we can go like special summon Unicorn, normal summon Fog King. Now that plays around Nibiru, and also if your opponent is on Mitsurugi, yeah, none of the Mitsurugi cards work, basically. The most you can get out of your Mitsurugi cards is like normal summon, I guess, a level 4 monster, and then but with a 3-card combo, I guess you could make a rank 4. But also you have to consider you have cash full combo with plus the Fog King. That would be my assumption at least. But yeah, even then, this isn't the best option. Technically, there's still another even better option than Fog King, and that will be Ulti Ray. Because for some reason, Ulti Ray Ritari has the fact of neither player can tribute cards to activate a card or effect, similar to Mask of Restrict and also Fog King, right? So the thing about this though is this is an extra deck monster and this is completely generic to make, and it's a Link 4. It does require 3+ effect monsters, but yeah, if you're able to just drop this on the field, what's your opponent supposed to do about this? And you know what? Here's a really dumb way to make this. If you want, you know, you can go Fiendsmith, right? Go Moon. So it's like any two effect monsters. Go like Requiem, cycle through, sequence, Lacrima, bring back, whatever. And then would you look at that? 2, 3, 4. Boom. Ulti Ray. And on top of this, just playing around Mitsu, of course, this will also play around Nibiru. Like, it just does. So, if your opponent has Nib, cool. They can't use it anymore after you've summoned Ulti Ray. And then, we have this effect here, which, you know, if you aren't playing around or playing against Mitsurugi, you have the effect of during your opponent's turn, quick effect. So only on your opponent's turn, so not on your own turn. You target a Ritual Beast card you control and one card your opponent controls. Bash them. Now we read this first part. Ritual Beast, Ulti Ray Ritari. So we can just have Ulti Ray banish itself and then banish one card your opponent controls. And this targets, right? Yeah. So, cool. This is fairly reasonable. If you really hate Mitsurugi, I suppose. And worth mentioning, I guess, pretty actually easy to access the Protos at the moment. Like, you could even, well, I would have to check to know for sure, but yeah, you could even access this in just most rank 4 strategies by going into this card here. You go Flame Banshee, and then, well, it depends on the exact list, right? But you would then go into Nemesis Flag. Nemesis Flag grabs your Protos, and then you would still need the correct attributes in your graveyard, being 3 different ones, which you're probably fairly close, because we have Flame Banshee here, Nemesis Flag, and then like whatever you detached off of this, whatever you use for combo. So you probably have enough for Protos. If your deck is also a dark deck, that this would be a little bit problematic maybe. If you're playing Orcus, technically you can attack from the destruction effect, but you do need to special summon on your opponent's turn, so it's kind of like moot point. But yeah, this plays around a good amount in general. So this beats Malice, Mitsurugi, Orcus, Visuals, just like Protos in general, right? And then for Ryzeal, this doesn't really do that much for you, honestly. Because Ryzeal is going to be light fire, unless it is specifically like Mitsurugi Ryzeal, which in this case, like, this will still kill off some of the cards in their hand. So, not literally useless, but there's probably something more effective than, I guess, Protos. So, in which case, if you were just like feeling like a hater against Ryzeal, there is the idea of still like one Black Garden. So the interesting thing about Black Garden is that Mitsurugi can't really deal with Black Garden if you were to have filled up your opponent's zones fully, I believe, right? So let's real quickly check what these cards say. Tribute 1 reptile monster. The tokens here are plants. And then this special summons a Mitsurugi monster from your deck, then tribute 1 you control. So if you do not have room to special summon with Habakiri here, you can't tribute a monster. So this is just not activatable for so many reasons, I guess, right? And then if we go to prayers, this says tribute a reptile monster in your hand or field so you can't tribute the plant tokens. So adding a Mitsurugi monster shouldn't really matter. You cannot tribute summon these guys because they must be ritual summoned because, you know, they're ritual cards. Yeah. And then this, let's see. Tribute reptile monsters. Once again, not reptiles, so you can't get rid of them. This tributes reptiles as well. Let's see. Mitsurugi Ritual. Ritual summon a reptile monster by tributing reptile monsters. And this says tributing reptile monsters as well. So for the tribute summons of your Mitsurugi cards, they must use reptiles, and these plant tokens are not. And also, while we're at it, Ryzeal cards, you can't normal summon any of them or special summon any of them because you have tokens, and you cannot get rid of the tokens because you cannot XYZ summon with tokens. So you're just cooked by Black Garden very thoroughly. This is actually not good against Malice though, because, well, it depends on the exact build, but Firewall can just link off 4 of them immediately to go into Firewall. And after that, White Binder only requires just any monsters, doesn't have to be effect monsters, for example. And this applies to these guys as well. So the tokens are not nearly as effective against, Malice, I guess. If Firewall has been cut from the list, and they actually do not have a way to link off any of the tokens, then it becomes fairly decent. Well, I'd have to double check, but yeah, I think depending on like the exact build, it's not going to be that great. If they have Firewall, at least. If they don't have Firewall, cracked. If they have Firewall, it's throwing, I guess. But even then, I think Ulti Ray is probably the most consistent thing you could probably get, We're against Malice. Then let's say we go Chain 1, effect of Malice Field Spell, Malice Underground, Special Summon Dormouse, Banish Dormouse, before it activates with the effect of Ulti Ray. Like, that'd be still fine, I guess. Could be better, I suppose. If our opponent was on Mitsurugi, that they just can't do anything, and we just sit on the Ulti Ray, and we're chilling. So I see this as just an absolute win, I guess. There is also the idea of technically going into Colossus, which is also an idea, which you can do with Flame Banshee. So you can do just like Flame Banshee adds Flag adds Corridor, and then you special summon this to then tribute Colossus over it, I guess. And technically, if you do Flame Banshee and you do have the ability to resolve Flag, I'm pretty sure this is just Fiendsmith combo because you have like 2 bodies on field. Yeah, so that's kind of just some fairly functional tech. There's probably something else I'm forgetting, but yeah, I think Ulti Ray or just like Infernal Flame Banshee are probably your best 2 options. Bug King, this requires your normal summon and you don't have to hard open it. But these 2, you can just implement these 2 into like an existing combo a lot easier. And even Black Garden is more accessible than like Fog King, surprisingly enough. Mask of Restrict, I mean, not as good in certain circumstances. It can be better in certain circumstances as well. It's like, it's situational. Mask of Restrict, now that I think about it, well, it doesn't really matter, just the tribute effects. Now that I think about this, doesn't this also play around like kaijus or something? Cards to activate a card or effect. No. Ulti Ray does not play around kaijus or Lava Golem. It only plays around cards that specifically have to tribute to activate type deal, right? Either player can tribute cards to activate a card or effect. Wait, does Ulti Ray even work? Wait a second. Ulti Ray might not work. So you might have to actually go for something like a Massive Restrict or Fog King, because this is only for activations, right? Neither player contribute cards to activate a card or effect. This line of text has me a little bit confused, actually. So, if the effect is to tribute, I think this can be activated. So does this actually stop ritual summoning? Does it? I have no idea at this point. I'm like lost. I mean, what does this mean? Well, let's check real quick. How does this work? Well, time to check someone else. Only cards that attribute for cost. So if it attributes for effect, it wouldn't work, right? Yeah. So maybe not that good against Mitsurugi specifically. Or even Nibiru. Wow, Ulti-Ray is actually kind of washed. Yeah, maybe Protos is the better option then. Just to prevent special summoning of any darks as well. It's not as targeted either, I suppose. If only this just stopped tributing altogether, this would be a lot more playable, I suppose. Yeah, it's for costs only. It doesn't prevent tributing effects like Mask Restrict or Fog King. So let's see, Fog King is a level 7 water spellcaster. I do not think there's a single good way to search this, unfortunately. If there was, then I think Fog King would not be too bad. Well, let's see. If that is the case, then Mitsurugi, the only card that Ulti-Ray will prevent. Well, Ulti-Ray is still good to know the card effect for, I suppose. But the only card that actually tributes for cost is going to be either Prayers or Magatama. Magatama's not really played, but it does stop Prayers, at least. So I think going for a different generic option might have to be the play. Well, there probably is something, right? Let me think for a second. I mean, technically, with Fiendsmith, I can definitely see you being able to make SP Little Knight, I'm thinking. And also going into Infernal Flame Banshee. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's doable from Fiendsmith combo. Where with Fiendsmith combo, you can go into what's his face? It was like Chorozo plus whatever Infernal Flame Banshee. Maybe you can find a way to make SP as well. SP banish a card, resolve flag. If your archetype that you're playing alongside this does a banish, then you can just resolve flag without going into SP. If you need to go into SP, I think you just can, right? Because this is still an XYZ monster, I guess. So it should be doable, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think with this stuff, you should still be able to access at least a Protoss through just Fiendsmith. I'd have to double check the line, but yeah. Just prevent your opponent from tributing more or less, and you should be solid, I guess. Aside from that, like, Black Garden's still solid, I believe. So, yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and technically Zombie World works too, but yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.